In this video, we're going to go through and we're going to sort out some silver. We're going to look to identify what is solid silver, sterling, coin, maybe something that has less silver content than the 90% of coin silver, from the silver plate, which has virtually no silver content at all. If you want to have a fun little game with yourself, why don't you pause the video here for a moment and try to pick out what's real and what isn't? What is sterling or coin silver and what is actually plate? Which of these pieces do you think are going to turn out to be something that are real? Now, I have already gone through all of this, so I know the answer to that. But as I go through each piece, I'll explain to you why the piece is what it is and how you can look to identify such things when you are out and about. So why don't we start in the middle here? We'll start with a piece that actually looks pretty good. This one right here. 1883 to 1923, the Ernst Kern Company. That actually looks pretty good at first. But then you flip her over and you see a big telltale sign. Now, even before reading any of the text, I can tell you that this is plate. And the reason I can is because of this right here. This is a very common wear spot for silver plate. And if you see that, you know right there you've got plate. But then if we go ahead and look at the markings, what do we got? We have patent applied for RCCO, and that's it. Now, one of the things about American sterling and American silverware is that if it is sterling, it's going to say it. You don't make something out of solid silver and not say it on there. Certainly for the sterling pieces, the pieces that are a little bit newer like this one, the pieces where they cared enough to put their name on it. So if this were a sterling piece, it would have sterling, and it also wouldn't have that wear pattern there. Let's set that one aside and we'll grab something else. This doesn't look that great. What do we think? This is Mother Ward Home, March 24th, 1886. Muskegon, Michigan. And what is this? LOTM. Oh, interesting. You know, I don't think I've actually looked at this particular one very close. We have some interesting things on this one. One, let's see if I can get it to focus. Oh, you camera. You can do it. Here, let's try old school. There we go. LOTM is Loyal Order of the Moose. And I believe if we can zoom in here, I'm going to make it work. I'll make it work. There it is. Ladies of the Maccabees. I'm not sure what Ladies of the Maccabees is, but I will I will certainly be looking that up after this video and see what it is. I've heard of that in context of other fraternal organizations. But you've been looking at this spoon for a while, and it looks a little bit on the rough side. What do you think? Do you think this one is sterling? Let's flip it over, and we'll see. Got a little bit there. But you know what I don't see is I don't see that wear pattern that we saw on the other one. Right there. So this one's looking pretty good. Let's see. There we are, sterling. And if you're curious about what the other mark means, that is a whiting, I believe. I might have to double check that. If anyone in the comments knows otherwise, go ahead and correct me, but I believe that's whiting. So that one is, in fact, sterling. And this is a very good example of how black and nasty a piece of sterling can go when it's just been neglected. We'll set that one aside in my good pile. We'll go on to something else here. How about we go, this looks pretty good. What do you think about this one? That looks really nice, real shiny. Let's flip her over. We don't have the wear, but you know what we do have is we have markings. So if we go to the markings here, community plate. So the nice thing is that this is a piece of Oneida Community plate that's in very nice shape. And because it is in such nice shape, it hasn't been destroyed. You don't see the typical wear patterns you see on old silver plate. So then you actually have to start to rely on the markings. But one of the tricks that I learned after buying some of this stuff was that everything marked with community is plated. So if you see community, that just means that it's plated, and it's Oneida's brand of plate silver. So we'll set that in our not so nice pile. We'll grab something else. Now this one looks pretty nice, kind of. It at least has an engraved initial on there. I don't see anything too obvious on the front saying that this is, oh, I do. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in right where I see the problem. Do you see it there? That is a telltale sign that there is brass or copper underneath the plating, and it is that little green there. You don't get green on actual silver. That's not how silver will silver will tarnish, it will go black, but what will go green is copper. So you can tell just because of that, this is plated. And if we look at the markings, we have Rogers AA, and AA indicates the amount of plating that they put on this piece, and that is a mark that you will see on Rogers. Now, interestingly, despite that other issue, we don't have, well, maybe just a little bit of that wear. So let's grab something else here. How about this one? What do we got here? We've got something that says Massachusetts. It's a Massachusetts spoon. Shall we flip it over and see? Oh, look at that plate. And to confirm, A1 plus. A1 is also a marking for plate. And after you've been doing this a while, you'll look at it and go, oh, yep, that's a plate mark. All right, what about this guy right here? That looks nice. Interesting. What do we think when we flip it over? Nope, nothing there. That's the mark for Gorham. And there's our sterling, Gorham sterling. Oh, and this pattern is called Spanish tracery. Now, fun fact, if you happen to be looking at a picture of a pile of silver and you see this exact pattern, you know it's sterling, even if you're only looking at it from the front. And the reason is, Gorham only made this pattern in sterling. They had sterling patterns, and then they had plate patterns, and they were different. So one big trick to buying silver or sterling silver off of the internet is to learn the patterns and to be able to look through the sterling patterns and say, oh, that piece is sterling, and I know because I can see the front of it, even without seeing the markings. All right. Shall we continue? This piece looks pretty good. Nice black tarnish. Let's have a look at the marking. That is community right there. So that's plate. And that might be why it's gone a little green there. You can see that. Yep. There you go. So that looked pretty good, but it was not. How about this guy right here? Little, I don't know, a little Dutch guy with a pipe maybe. And what do we have for the scene here? We have a windmill. Yeah, look at that. Now, at first glance, you might think, man, that, I don't know, maybe that's pewter. It doesn't look that great. Let's flip her over and see what we can see. Oh, interesting. We do have a marking. And that marking is upside down for you. Let's flip that right side up. There you go. 800, and you can see just a little bit of a crescent moon. And the crescent moon was a Germanic mark for silver. And now this one, I'm cheating a little bit. I have verified that this is, in fact, 80% silver on the XRF machine that tells you what the content of something is. So this guy is actually good, despite it looking, frankly, kind of like crap. All right, shall we move on to something that looks nice? I think this guy looks nice. What do we have here? Old dude. Is that, who is that? Can we tell? 19th, what do we have? The 19th president. Is that Grant? That looks like it must be Grant. No, Rutherford B. Hayes. A president I totally forgot existed until just this moment. Oh, and then what is this? Thomas Edison electric light. All right. So these old spoons could have Lord knows what on them. And oftentimes they are sterling, but we will check this one up. Nope, plate. And then if we look at it, so we have here IS, International Silver, Rogers. This IS mark, in my experience, has always indicated plate, but this is the better indicator for this particular piece. Let's grab another nice looking commemorative spoon. Looks like we've got, don't think that's one of the presidents. Birth of Israel. Oh, so this is a spoon commemorating Israel's formation. Interesting. But look right there, that issue, and it tells us right there, silver plate, nice and easy. Now, I'm gonna pause for a moment. I'm gonna actually say, you know, I think I know why these have that wear right there, and I think it has something to do with stacking up spoons like this, just like that. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. If anyone knows for sure, let me know. The other thing that it might be with some of these commemorative spoons is that they're hanging and maybe rubbing up against whatever they're hanging off of, but it seems more likely that they got stacked and did that. All right, shall we continue? What else do we have here? We have an individual butter knife. Looks really good. Has a, oh, wait a minute. What is going on with that engraving? Look at the color in there. Silver does not turn that color. So this is a very good example of where the engraving got down to the copper or brass underneath. And then that has been oxidizing and turning green. So if we flip this guy over, now I should note some of these butter knives, in fact, a lot of these butter knives I've found don't have writing on them. And when they don't have writing, you can try to identify them by the pattern, by, you know, obviously this one's gone green. Or that's pretty much it. The pattern or things that indicate that they are actually plate. They can be probably the trickiest of all of the plated objects to identify. In this case, we do actually have information. 1847 Rogers Brothers XS triple. And by triple, they mean plate, triple plate. So it's thick plate on there, which is why the whole thing looks pretty good, except for where they cut through the plate to put the monogram. Off we go there. Zoom in a little bit so you don't see my dad bod. Okay, what else we got? How about this guy right here? Now that's interesting. That is rough. Look at how this is, and it is light. There's almost nothing to it. It has a monogram right there, engraved on. And the good news about that monogram is that it's not going green on us. Let's flip it over, see what it says. We don't have our typical problem there. And we have J. Draper. Now, I'm going to skip ahead. I'm going to tell you, J. Draper was a silversmith, early American silversmith. So this is like 1830s, if I recall correctly, spoon. And it is actually coin silver. So this is made out of melted down coins. For all you coin collectors out there, this is where all your Spanish pieces of 8 went, and some of those old British coins you've been after for a while probably got turned into this spoon. Um, Now, these are not always coin silver. Uh, if you want to identify one of these, the best thing to do is get online and just punch in the name, because there are people that really love collecting these, and they have figured out all the different silversmiths. So there'll be name after name after name after name. And you know these things are going to be coin silver if they're old enough that these guys were silversmiths, and it was before people were really kind of doing the whole silver plating thing in America. So you could tell this was coin silver, even though I verified it on the XRF machine before that, because of these features and because it's so light. I mean, this is a very, very lightweight piece. And that's because, they wanted a bunch of spoons. They wanted spoons to eat with, and they only had so much silver to make it out of. So the economy here also tells you something. If it were made out of nickel silver, which isn't really silver, it's mostly nickel, it would be thicker and hardier and more durable than what you see here. Now, I brought this one out at the same time because it has the same monogram on it, but it's made by someone different. See there, McGrew versus Draper, even though we have the same monogram, same family. And I think one of the things that you can find here is that this is probably a serving spoon right here. Is that I bought these together because these pieces were probably made at least 15 years apart, but they were monogrammed by the same family. And the monograms in the early 1800s, mid 1800s, were not put there to be fancy. They were put there in case somebody stole your damn spoon. And if they stole your spoon and they're trying to trade it for whiskey, hey, that's my spoon. So word can get out. Or, if it's a small town, which it kind of all was at that point, somebody's like, why did you steal, what is it, MG, the Greeners spoons? Why do you have that? And didn't they get burglared the other day? All right, we'll put those aside and we'll look at these other pieces real quick. Wrap up this video. All right. Next up, well, look at this guy right here. You might have been eyeballing this one and going, that doesn't look good. Look at all that copper coming through. See what I mean? Where it's got like brown. It's like freaking ugly. All the high edges have brown coming through. This was a spoon for Captain Diabetes? No. CD Sig B US. All right, I don't know who this guy was. Maybe some Civil War thing. Oh, yeah, here, let's look. U.S. Battleship Maine. Aha! Destroyed February 15th, 18... something. I bet we find, yeah. Well, maybe not. Maybe this just has some schmutz on it. It just has some schmutz on it. Standard. That's all it says. But you can tell this one's silver plate because the plating is just straight up worn off. It's mostly just copper. So this is a very low quality silver plated object. And these are nice to be able to spot because they help you to say, oh, you can have a higher quality silver plate object that'll still have this if it's been around for a long time, if it's got a lot of wear. Continuing on, we'll continue with spoons before we look at our pie servers here. What do you think about that right there? What do we got? We have a spoon from the old schoolhouse, 1881. Man, that thing looks like trash, doesn't it? Old Settlers Reunion, June 1965. Ness City, Kansas Bank. We are not looking too good. The newer things are, the less likely they are to be solid silver. But never skip things. Always have a look. Because if you have a look at the back of this one, what do we find? Sterling. Silver, right there. Made in Germany. And I have verified this one is sterling. I have maintained it's looking like absolute trashness, partially because I don't know if I'm gonna actually scrub off this this what looks maybe like porcelain in there. This is enamel, whatever it is, and partially because I like to show people that sometimes the crappiest looking spoon possible is actually something. Now, for those stackers out there, you may be a little annoyed that by a piece like this, because it does have this enamel, and that enamel is, of course, going to mess with your weight. So one of the things that we have to accept if we are stacking silverware is that we don't exactly know quite how much we have. And this is definitely a piece where I could weigh it, but what would it tell us? Not a whole lot. But it's sterling. Okay, let's put that in our good pile. We'll look at this one. This is one of the more interesting ones from an identification purpose. One, I think it's really dang cool. It is a little gargoyle there. And we have a nice monogram, beautiful work, gold wash. And then if we flip her over, you can see where the gold wash is worn through, but it's just revealing silver. And then things get a little interesting. We have a patent, March 89, or 80, I believe, 1880. And then we have Vanderslice & Co., San Francisco. And that's it. Now, this is an example of coin silver. Now, it's 90% silver, according to the XRF machine, and they're often sold as sterling. If you go look up Vanderslice stuff, you'll see them selling it as sterling. But this is a rare spoon in that there really wasn't a lot of West Coast silversmiths working. And, you know, this is what the patent is, 1880. This is right in the middle of the Comstock Lode, if you're familiar with that, the silver rush out that way. And this is probably a spoon that was made out of silver that was mined in California at that time. My understanding is that that's what they used, actually, for the most part, was they would use the silver that was local. And the silversmiths that set up shop in San Francisco around that time were servicing the newly rich gold rush people, silver rush, the miners that actually struck it rich. And they would make these sets for them. I bought this in a shop for $2 because it's not marked sterling. And the reason I walked away with it is that I couldn't find on it any indication, like you just saw on a series of pieces there, that it was plated. So they took my $2 and I walked out with it, and then I found out what it was by looking it up online later. It's one of my very favorite spoons. I like to use it for serving food at Christmas. All right, 2 more pieces. Now again, these are the kind of things that will annoy you stackers, because if we look at these, this is either plate or stainless. It is not silver. When you find these that are sterling or marked sterling, know that the handle is what's sterling and not the whole piece. So to know how much silver is in it, you got to break it apart. And I think I've got some of these that I can smash up. So I'll smash up some of these for future videos. If you want me to do that sooner than later, just leave a comment and let me know you need to see one of these smashed up. But let's have a look at these and see, because one of them is sterling, one of them is not. I'm not sure if you can identify which is which at this point, but let's have a look at them. This guy, this handle looks real nice. And when we look close, I don't see any indication that it's not actually silver, because it is in such nice shape. But there is something about this that will tell us what we need to know. And you can find it right there in the blade. Rogers Brother and Brother, Waterbury, Connecticut. You can see here we have a little rust because this is a steel blade. Probably silver plated, but steel nonetheless. And you see that little star right there? The star is also indicative of silver plate. Additionally, the Rogers family, there's all sorts of Rogers things you'll find. There's lots and lots and lots of Rogers. And all of the Rogers stuff you'll find, unless it's really, really old, if it is sterling, it will say sterling, or it will tell you for sure that this is coin or solid sterling or something. And usually you'll find marks here or here. If we look at this piece, good looking piece. Oh, look what we got right there. Sterling. Patent applied for. And I forget off the top of my head who made this, but that's what this mark indicates. Now, this one is actually in shockingly nice shape. Usually the blades on these things are rusty. Even before I was really scrapping a lot of this stuff, these were, when I found them, I would usually just break them all up. But for reference, this is all steel that's plated. And then right here, that little lip, this down is a hollow piece of sterling. Now it doesn't really feel too hollow, and that's because it's usually filled with something like plaster or cement or rubber or something of that variety. I hope you found this video useful. Please, if you did, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know if there's anything that you wanted clarification on, if there was any other questions you had regarding any of these pieces. And let me know if you want me to make more of these. I have quite a ridiculous hoard. If you've checked out my channel, you can see that trying to lay it all out and get a handle on what I have accumulated is what prompted me to start making videos in the first place. And I can certainly illustrate a lot of different things with my ridiculous hoard at this point. And I will. Just got to give me a comment, and I'll do it as quickly as my children permit. I hope you're having a great day.